So here's a video on everything you need to know about a lease purchase program. Throughout the week, I get at least 15 to 20 different emails with different questions about a lease purchase program. So I decided to put a few drivers together, 8 or 9 of them together, under one Zoom session where they get to ask me any question that they have about a lease purchase program. There were a ton of great questions in this Zoom call. Now again, it doesn't have to be about ET Transport's lease purchase program. You could take these questions and you can take these answers and you can implement them to any other company. We had a few drivers that were in from the US that had no intentions to sign on board with a company here in Canada, but he got a lot of information from it and was able to take notes and was able to implement these answers into companies when he's looking for a good company in the US. So here we go, let's get into it. Let's listen to the questions that they had to say. So ET Transport, so we have a 95% success and completion for drivers that sign on to the lease program. And that's because we do take the time, that 30 to 60 days, to properly put you in a truck. Most likely you're going to be in a truck that you are going to purchase. So I will not put you in a 2015 Volvo when you are wanting a 2018 or 19. I will find you a suitable truck for you to drive for 30 to 60 days. So for you to make sure that that truck is okay, and only then will we sign the documents once you feel comfortable. You know, the most important thing that I try to emphasize a lot in my videos is fuel consumption, and that's why I need that 30 to 60 days. If you're a driver that has a heavy foot, you know, you smash on it, you're getting 6.5 miles per gallon, you are not going to be profitable. I can tell you that right now. If you are on cruise control, you know, I would say 40% of the time, 50% of the time, if you're cautious about your fuel consumption, then if you're getting your 8.5 miles per gallon, which all of our trucks do get across the board, 8.5 miles. I have the ones that are 9 and 9.5 miles per gallon. You know, I can ask Dennis. Dennis, what are you getting for fuel consumption on your truck?
Yeah, it's 8.3 miles per gallon.
Oh, okay, great. So 8.3 miles per gallon. So the reason I asked is most of our Cascadias and most of our Volvos are producing over 8 miles per gallon. And if they are not producing over 8 miles per gallon, there's something either wrong with the truck or the way the driver is driving it. So those are the two reasons behind why drivers won't get over 8 miles per gallon. It's either something wrong with the truck or the way the driver is driving it. With the technology we have, I will show you after your 30 to 60 days how you drive, your style of driving, and where you need to be and how you are compared to other drivers within the fleet. I know there's probably a lot of questions that you guys have, and this was the reason for this session, is that you can all hear each other's questions. So Matt, would you like to start off?
Sure. I noticed in some of your videos you were saying that it requires a down payment.
Correct. Yep.
How much? How does it work? Does it come out of my settlement?
No, so we do require a down payment for anyone wanting to sign the lease purchase program. So the way that it works is we do it by years. So the older the truck is, the smaller the down payment is. For example, if you were to get into, I don't even have 2017s, it would only start at 2018s would be the ones that are available for the lease, or 2019s. So at 2018, you would need to have $5,000 down payment for it. And at 2019, you would need $7,500 down payment for it. Unfortunately, there is no workaround the down payment. It cannot come off of your settlement. Some drivers that I've seen that are here, what they do is they work as company drivers for the duration of the time that it takes them to save that $5,000 or $7,500. So a driver might come in here, he'll work 3-4 months to save that money, and then he will flip the switch and become a lease operator.
Okay.
Any other questions, Matt?
So when we start as a company driver, it'll be 2 weeks, like you still paid on the 1st and the 15th, so it would be roughly a month before a paycheck?
It would, yes, but if you do need access to cash advance, we have it through the cards, and it is very common that I would get an email because it's very hard to wait a month without getting a paycheck. So after the 15th day, you can ask via email to the accounting department for an advance, and they will give it off to you.
The last thing is the highway trucks. Like I want to be a long haul flatbed. They'll have fridges. They come loaded like that.
Yep, they all have fridges. They all have what are they called? The inverters, the good inverters. They all have either the battery pack APUs or the diesel APUs. Most of them have the battery pack APU units. So for idling, I mean, we'll shut down the truck. We'll preset it that, you know, whenever the truck is standing for more than X amount of minutes, 5-7 minutes, then the truck will automatically shut down, and then your APU unit will kick in, and the truck speaks directly to the APU unit as the batteries die after 4, 5, 6 hours. Then your truck kicks back on, recharging those batteries, and then that same cycle happens over and over again.
The last question is, I heard a couple of different answers on this one. For the flatbed division as a lease operator, is it $1.77 or $1.72 a mile?
It's a good question. I believe the $1.77 sounds correct. And then it's plus fuel surcharge. So I think that our last fuel surcharge was over, I think probably 35 or 39 cents per mile, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
Steve, would you like to ask some questions?
So my question is in Windsor, would I have to relocate? And also the second question is, I am a new driver, meaning brand new, like just finished last week, got my fully endorsed AZ.
Nice.
Brand new, so I'm happy to be here.
Nice.
What are your requirements? Do you
So first of all, congratulations on getting your license. The second thing, unfortunately, ET Transport does not recruit any drivers without 2 years verifiable experience, as I truly believe that it would be a lot easier for you to find a position here in the GTA with a company that probably runs teams out west. That's probably the way to get your experience. And then after that, you should be able to find another position probably about after 18 months of doing that, but not here. There are some good companies out there that will make the exception for the 18 months, but unfortunately here at ET Transport, it's minimum 2 years, and you won't be eligible for the lease program right away. You'd probably have to wait a little while. I think that, you know, only after 3 years you should get into the owner-operator position, but I still think that this will be very beneficial for you, this Zoom session. iPhone 2 from the US.
Yes, sir.
Any questions that you have?
Yeah, you said that you didn't recruit people from the United States, right?
Correct, yeah. So we do have plans to open up a terminal in Atlanta, Georgia in the last quarter of 2023 or first quarter of 2024. We're still in the works on that. Only then would we be able to recruit US drivers to do US runs, but right now we don't and we can't.
Okay, I understand that. But I've just been listening to you guys and understanding, you know, that normally like you'd have to have a down payment to do a lease purchase and everything. So that I'm getting some really good information on you guys. I have 5 years of experience.
Nice.
And I've been wanting to do an owner-operator position for a while and everything. So I'm just kind of listening to you guys.
I know that in the US it's a lot more common through Pride and through, I think you guys have like huge trucking companies that offer the lease purchase program. I've heard a lot of bad and I've heard a lot of, you know, some good. Just be very selective with who you go with and make sure you talk to the drivers that are there, that are on that program. I mean, the bigger trucking companies, I'm sure you can even stumble upon them, you know, in any truck stop in the US and ask them, and they'll be open with you. I mean, drivers are usually very friendly and they don't mind giving off the information.
Okay, thank you.
Not a problem. iPhone 1.
Hey, how you doing?
Good.
On the fuel consumption, you guys obviously take in consideration of how heavy you're loaded, and if you're driving through mountains and that, you're going to use more fuel, right?
Absolutely, yeah. So we do take that into consideration.
So where do you guys usually run in the States?
So we run to the Midwest USA and Southeast USA. So we're very big on Wisconsin, Illinois, Minnesota, Tennessee, and then we do the Southeast, which is North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Virginia, and we have a terminal down east in Moncton, New Brunswick.
Okay. Once you get into a truck, how much are your monthly payments for it?
So very good question. So the way that I do the monthly payments is, first of all, I need to find out what kind of driver you are. So are you a Midwest, do you like to be out on the road for longer periods of time or shorter periods of time? Once I know that, then I can plug you into the proper truck, and then I can also select the proper payments for you. So I don't like, if somebody was to take over a 2018 purchase price would probably be around, I don't know, 110, 115,000. So the way I come up with the purchase price is usually I ask the driver to go to the dealerships and find the equivalent truck of what we have, and then me and you will come up with a fair market value for that truck. So I do this exercise all the time with drivers. Once we get the fair market value, which would be probably around 110, 115, depends. If we were doing this exercise 3 months ago, the prices would probably be around 140. But once we get that number, I don't like doing anything over 48 months. I love doing leases for 36 months. What I usually do is that we offer the drivers once the manufacturing warranty expires, then I would offer the lease operator to get an aftermarket warranty that covers them on engine, transmission, all the major stuff, engine, transmission, and we'll finance that into your payment plan also. So it's an extra, if you're here for 36 months, once that warranty expires, then it's an extra $200 or $225 a month for that additional warranty. And that's for everybody to sleep quiet at night. Our lease purchase program is all about you completing your lease and you having your truck at the end of the 36 months. Sometimes we have to stretch it out to 42 months. Sometimes we'll put a $10,000 or a $15,000 buyout at the end. I hate lease purchase programs that have a freaking $65,000 buyout. No driver is ever going to buy out that truck because the truck is worth less than what his buyout is. So it's just a way to keep you constantly in that loop.
Okay, yeah, makes sense. Just one more thing. You hear from other companies and that, or other drivers, complaining, don't lease a truck from this company. You won't get the miles. They'll sink you because you can't make your payments. Well, my take is if you can't make your payments, you're not putting the miles in. I guess the most important thing is, are you guaranteed the miles to cover your costs and then put a little bit in the bank account, right?
Yeah, so to answer that question, the first part about it is, yes, there are a lot of drivers out there that are in horrible lease programs. I've read a few of them from big companies, from mediocre companies, and just horrific. I don't know how they get people to sign those lease programs. So their complaints are valid because their mileage, when times are tough, that's right. The miles goes down and it's across the board for everybody. It's any trucking company when you're in a recession or in your, I remember maybe 7 years ago or 8 years ago, times weren't all that great. There weren't a lot of cross-border shipments. And yes, the mileage did get affected. So if you're used to doing 3,200 miles, then you were doing 2,600 miles. And it's across the board with everybody. Now, if you don't get enough mileage to pay your lease, then it's just a matter of 1 or 2 months before somebody walks away, right? How long can you keep up with not being able to take a paycheck home or not being able to making less than what a company driver makes? It's not rocket science that a driver is just going to walk out and leave. It sucks that the reputation of these lease purchase programs, a lot of companies are that's their end game, is that at some point along the 4 years that the driver just gets up and leaves, and that's why they will put you with no down payment and give you anything that you want. Just here, sign the lease and start working as an owner operator tomorrow, and then your monthly payments are just astronomical. They're just insane. I've seen drivers paying $4,000 and $4,500 a month, and I was like, wow, how in the world can you afford this? That's not what the lease program is meant for. We do things just a little bit differently over here.
Thanks.
No problem. Mihail?
Yep.
You have any questions?
Can he have some dedicated run?
So we do not hire Canada-only drivers in the lease purchase program. We do hire cross-border drivers in the lease purchase program, but not Canada-only drivers. Canada-only freight, even though we have the terminal down east, that is not our niche, just Canada-only freight. It's all cross-border freight. Is it dedicated? No, it's not dedicated. It's the same, I would say maybe 15, 20 customers, and they constantly ship to the same locations, which is the Midwest USA and the Southeast USA. So we have a van reefer division, which is one division, and then we have the flatbed and roll tights, which is a separate division, and you cannot jump around from one division to the next.
Another thing, for example, I have more than 3 years on the reefer, but I would like to start for the flatbed.
Yep, so what we would do in this situation is we would start you off in our van reefer division. We have a really good safety manager here, Mark. And what Mark would do is probably do a couple of sessions with you to see where you stand, ask you rules about the flatbeds. He'll ask you to secure and unsecure loads in our yard. Once he gets that comfortable feeling, then you're able to transfer to our flatbed division. If you need more training, then Mark will either be available to you on your days off, whenever you have your 36 hours off, or whenever you have a weekend off to yourself, then you're able to come into the yard. He'll do mock loads with you. And that's how we train for the flatbed division. Does anybody have any other questions that they'd like to ask? Yeah, go ahead, Matt.
What's the chances of you do Texas, Arizona, like a little bit farther west? Much?
I'll tell you, so nothing that I say on camera. There are the odd loads and there are some loads. Majority of our loads and our customers are Midwest USA and Southeast USA. We do service the Georgia, Florida, North Carolina, South Carolina, Virginia, and we do the Minnesota, Wisconsin, Illinois a lot. We do have the runs to Texas, but it's nothing that's going to appear more than once a month. A round trip to Texas or a round trip to Louisiana, Alabama. Those are not our lanes.
Washington, Western Canada, no?
Western Canada through the US we do service. We have customers in Illinois, Wisconsin, where we have drop trailers, and we need to service the lanes going into Alberta. So it's Illinois to Alberta back into the US, and then into Canada. We don't service within Canada. We don't drive from Ontario to Alberta or Ontario to BC. Very rarely. Okay. So here's a question. What happens if my engine blows up during the lease? That's a question that I got a couple of times in previous sessions. So first of all, our mechanics here, our shop is on site. Freightliners and the Volvos, 99% of the work we do here, unless it's things that are covered under warranty. Our shop rates are, I believe, $105 an hour versus the $145, $155 an hour that happens out there. If something happens to your engine, most likely it's covered under warranty. And when that warranty does expire or is about to expire, I'll bring you into the office and talk to you about the aftermarket warranties that are available. And I'm usually successful of talking a lease operator to be able to sleep quiet at night for the duration of the additional 3 years, where he has warranty on the engine, transmission, the turbo, and a few other major components.
I didn't quite understand. I was talking to
Monique, yep.
In your recruiting. I've started the application. When I started as a company driver, I didn't quite understand her. Can I run it under my corporation, or do I have to run it as a company driver losing taxes?
Yes, so we won't recruit the company drivers that are trying to work under the corporation, especially if you're going into the lease purchase program or that's your goal. So we're talking about we're talking about the 30 to 60 days that you're going to work as a company driver. Yes, you will pay your taxes. We will not pay your corporation. Okay.
I was just going to ask, what your lease purchase program, do you guys take the insurance out, or you got to find your own?
No. So there's a few options for lease operators. So there's buy down insurance, but the insurance for the truck under the fleet is all covered. If you want additional insurance like buy down insurance, there's there's out-of-state medical insurance that you're going to need. I believe it's $180 a month to be covered in the US if something happens to you. And then there's an optional buy down insurance that will be explained to you by HR. And then if you want it, you can take the insurance, and if not, then you don't have to. It's not mandatory.
Okay, thanks.
Go ahead.
You're paid loaded and empty?
Correct, yes. The mileage rates.
Operator?
Yep. The mileage rates are all for empty and loaded miles.
With your buying power, Ronen, for your shop, is there discounts on like tires? Because tires are quite expensive. Like if we need a set of tires on the drives.
Of course, yeah, we do. We have a national account, so our prices are extremely competitive when it comes to drive tires, steer tires, for sure. And those discounts obviously are passed on to the lease operators and owner operators.
On your fuel cards there, is there a discount as well, or?
Yeah, so in the US, it's 25 cents off per gallon in the US. Wow. With our fuel cards. And in Canada, I believe it's 7 or 8 cents per liter off the posted price.
Okay. Awesome.
All right. If you don't have any more questions, or if you do, let me know. But if you don't, then this concludes our session. You know, I'd be happy to have all of you on board. Obviously, we have to go through the correct process, which is bringing you on board here for 30 to 60 days as company drivers. I know that probably getting a hold of Monique, and there is about a 2-month waiting list to get into our company right now. The people who surpass that waiting list are the flatbed drivers, get a heads up, and then the drivers that are interested in the lease program, they get to cut or bypass the line that is in here. All right, guys, thank you so much. And if anybody has any comments, then you can share it, or feel free to email me directly. You all have my email address. So I know this was a long video, but you got to hear a lot of questions and a lot of answers. I hope you learned something from this video. Now, if you have any more questions that I did not cover in this video, leave a comment down below and ask away. I am very responsive to these comments, so leave a comment down below. I'm Ronen, and I'll catch you in my next video.